The rain hammered the office windows like 1,000 tiny accusations, each drop a reminder that Seattle never let you forget your secrets. I stood frozen in the elevator, heart slamming against my ribs, as Wyatt Kensington leaned in close, his breath warm against my ear amid the sterile hum of fluorescent lights. "Are you free tonight?" he whispered, his voice a low rumble that cut through the storm outside and the one brewing inside me, his blue eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that made the world tilt. Elias Harlan. That's me. 28 years old, scraping by as a mid-level analyst in the glass tower of Kensington Tech, a sprawling empire of code and ambition perched on the edge of Puget Sound. I'd moved here from the salt-crusted shores of Maine 5 years ago, chasing the ghost of a life that felt bigger than the lobster traps and lighthouse beacons of my childhood. Seattle promised reinvention. Coffee that burned your soul, hills that tested your lungs, and a fog that hid all the ways you could break. But nothing prepared me for Wyatt. He was the chairman's son, heir to the throne of algorithms and venture capital, the kind of man who walked into rooms and made gravity shift. 30, broad-shouldered with that effortless California polish, sun-kissed skin from summers in Malibu, even if he pretended to be all Northwest grit. His father, Harlan Kensington, no relation to me, thank God, built this company from a garage hackathon into a beast that swallowed startups for breakfast. Wyatt. He was the golden boy. The one who charmed investors over single malt scotch and coded side projects that went viral overnight. We shouldn't have crossed paths, not really. I was the guy crunching numbers in the basement server farm. Invisible except for quarterly reports. But fate, or maybe just a glitch in the org chart, threw us together on the innovation task force last month. It started with late nights. The kind where the city lights blurred into stars through the blinds, and the only sounds were keystrokes and the distant wail of fairies. Wyatt would drop by my cubicle unannounced, sleeves rolled up over forearms etched with faint tattoos, symbols from some forgotten road trip, he said once, his laugh easy like summer waves. "Eli, you're the only one who sees the patterns," he'd say, perching on my desk, close enough that I caught the scent of his cologne. Cedar and salt like the ocean after a storm. I'd nod, throat tight, pretending my flesh was from the screen's glow. Tonight, though, as the elevator dinged open to the empty lobby, his words hung between us like smoke. The building was a skeleton after hours, security guards nodding from afar, the marble floors echoing our footsteps. Rain lashed the revolving doors, turning the world outside into a watercolor smear. I turned to him, my umbrella forgotten in the coat rack upstairs. "Wyatt, yeah, free as I'll ever be." His smile cracked something in me, a slow, crooked thing that reached his eyes, crinkling the corners. He stepped closer, the space between us shrinking to the width of a heartbeat. "Good. As I've been thinking about you. All day. Hell, all week." His hand brushed my arm light as a question, and electricity zipped up my spine. I hadn't dated since Portland, since the guy who ghosted me after his straight-laced family caught wind. Being gay in corporate America? It was like walking a tightrope over a pit of NDAs and HR memos. But Wyatt, he made me want to jump. We slipped out into the downpour, hailing a cab that smelled of wet wool and regret. He gave the driver an address in Capitol Hill, a neighborhood of Victorian houses painted rebellion colors, where baristas quoted poetry and the air hummed with unspoken stories. My apartment was a shoebox in Fremont, all exposed brick and secondhand regrets, but tonight I didn't care. The cab wove through traffic, windshield wipers slashing rhythmically, and Wyatt's knee pressed against mine. Accidental? No. Intentional. His fingers traced idle patterns on the seatback, inches from my hand. "Tell me something real, Eli," he said, voice cutting through the radio's murmur. A indie folk tune about lost lovers and open roads. Not the quarterly bullshit. "You." I swallowed, staring at the blurred taillights ahead. Real. What was real anymore? The kid from Bar Harbor who dreamed of Broadway musicals but settled for spreadsheets? The one who came out at 17, only to watch his fisherman dad stare at the horizon like I'd sunk his boat? "I missed the fog back home," I said finally. "In Maine." It wrapped everything up, made the hard parts softer. "Here everything's so exposed." He nodded, eyes on the side of my face. "I get that. Dad's world, it's all spotlights. No shadows to hide in. A pause heavy as the rain. But with you I want the light. The cab pulled up to a narrow brownstone, ivy climbing the walls like veins. Wyatt paid, tipping generously, and led me up creaky steps to a door that swung open with a key from his pocket. Inside, warmth. Exposed beams, bookshelves groaning under Vonnegut and Kerouac. A record player spinning Coltrane's saxophone like a sigh. No sterile penthouse. This was lived-in, human. A half-empty bottle of bourbon on the coffee table. Photos of Wyatt with a surfboard in Baja, grinning fierce against the sun. He poured us drinks, amber liquid glinting in lowball glasses. We sank onto the leather couch, the city storm a distant roar. Conversation flowed easy at first, work gripes, the latest tech scandal, how Seattle's tech bros ruined craft beer. But then his gaze lingered, and the air thickened. Why me? I asked, voice barely above the jazz. You. Boardrooms. Yachts. I'm just. Eli. He set his glass down, leaning in. His hand found my knee steady. Because you see me. Not the son. Not the successor. You look at me like I'm possible. Our lips met then, tentative at first like testing the tide. His mouth was warm, tasting of bourbon and want, and I melted into it, fingers threading through his sun-bleached hair. The kiss deepened, hungry, his hands mapping my back as if memorizing contours. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, breaths mingling. I've wanted this, he murmured. Since that first task force meeting. You, bent over your laptop, biting your lip like the world's weight was on it. I laughed, shaky. Flatterer. Truth. He pulled me closer, and we tumbled into the rhythm of skin on skin, clothes shedding like old skins. The room spun. His body lean and strong, scars from wipeouts on the waves. The way he whispered my name like a prayer. It wasn't just sex, it was unraveling. Layers peeled back. My fears of invisibility, his pressure to inherit a crown he never asked for. After, tangled in sheets that smelled of him, rain tapping the window like applause, I traced the line of his jaw. What now? He smiled into the dark. Now? We figure it out. Together. But dawn brought the first crack. My phone buzzed, a text from HR about an anonymous tip on fraternization policies. Paranoia? Or something sharper? The coffee machine in the Kensington Tech break room gurgled like a guilty conscience as I poured my third cup of the morning, black and bitter as the thoughts churning in my head. It was 2 days after that night in Wyatt's brownstone, and every glance across the open-plan floor felt like a spotlight. Colleagues typed away, oblivious, but I swear the air hummed with suspicion. Wyatt had texted at sunrise. Last night was everything. Lunch. I'd replied with a heart emoji, my thumb trembling, but now, staring at the foam on my latte, doubt crept in like fog off the sound. I retreated to my desk, a corner pod overlooking the shipping cranes, their arms swinging cargo like pendulums of fate. Emails piled up, projections for Q4, a memo on diversity quotas that felt like a joke. As if this place celebrated anything but straight white male ambition. I'd hidden my queerness here like a cached file, deep, encrypted. Portland had been different. There, I'd marched in pride with rainbow flags snapping in the breeze, kissed boyfriends under cherry blossoms. But Seattle? It was progressive on paper, all TED Talks on inclusion, but the boardroom was still a boys' club and Wyatt was the prince. A shadow fell over my screen. Harlan. My office. Now. Harlan Kensington's voice was gravel wrapped in silk, the kind that built empires and buried scandals. I followed him up the executive elevator, stomach nodding, past floors of glass walls and motivational posters. His corner suite was a shrine to success. Mahogany desk the size of a small boat, walls lined with Forbes covers and a single photo of him shaking hands with the governor. Wyatt wasn't in it, erased maybe or just incidental. Sit. He gestured to a leather chair that swallowed me whole. Harlan was 65, silver fox with a jaw like chiseled granite, eyes that dissected balance sheets and souls alike. You've been on the task force. Impressive work. Wyatt speaks highly. Heat flooded my face. Thank you, sir. Just doing my part. He steepled his fingers, leaning back. Son tells me you're from Maine. Bar Harbor. Yes. Small town. Lobster and tourists. A chuckle dry as autumn leaves. I like roots. Keeps a man grounded. Wyatt. He's adrift sometimes. Too much ocean in his blood. A pause, his gaze sharpening. I need you to keep an eye on him. The merger with Apex is delicate. Whispers of sabotage. If he's distracted. Distracted. The word landed like a stone in still water. Sir, Discretion, Elias. It's the currency here. He slid a folder across the desk, bonus projections, fat numbers that made my pulse spike. Loyalty pays. Understood. I nodded, throat ash dry, and escaped to the elevator, folder clutched like a shield. Loyalty. To whom? The man who built this tower? Or the one who'd torn down my walls 2 nights ago? Lunch with Wyatt was a stolen hour at a hole-in-the-wall faux spot in the International District, steam rising from bowls like secrets escaping. He slid into the booth opposite me, ball cap pulled low, grinning like we'd pulled off a heist. Missed you, he said, lacing his fingers through mine under the table. His touch grounded me, electric and sure. Missed you more. I squeezed back, glancing at the door. Paranoia itched. Your dad cornered me this morning. Wyatt's fork paused midair, noodles dangling. What did he want? Task force stuff. And you. I hesitated, the folder's weight phantom in my lap. Said to keep you focused. His jaw tightened, a flicker of storm in those blue eyes. Classic dad. Thinks everyone's a chess piece. He set the fork down, covering my hand with his. Ignore him. It's not a distraction. It's the point. We ate in bursts of laughter after that, trading stories. His first hackathon win at Stanford, where he coded a bot that predicted surf swells. My summer gig shucking oysters, dreaming of escape. But under it all, tension simmered. As we parted on the sidewalk, his kiss quick and fierce against the brick wall, he whispered, Dinner tonight. My place. We'll talk. The afternoon dragged, pixels blurring as I crunched data on Apex's vulnerabilities. Backdoors in their API, whispers of insider leaks. By 5 my inbox pinged. An anonymous email, subject blank. Inside. A grainy photo timestamped 2 nights ago. Me and Wyatt tangled on his doorstep, his hand on my waist. Careers end fast in glass houses. Choose wisely. Ice flooded my veins. Blackmail? From who? A rival analyst? HR busybody? I deleted it, heart hammering, but the image burned retinal. Freedom felt fragile suddenly, like sea glass on the tide. That evening I showed up at Wyatt's with takeout Thai, pad see ew sticky with tamarind, spring rolls crisp as new promises. He opened the door barefoot, in faded jeans and a thermal that hugged his chest, pulling me inside with a kiss that tasted like home. We ate cross-legged on the rug, vinyl spinning Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks wailing about Silver Springs and lost chances. I told him about the email, voice steady as I could make it. His face darkened, fork clattering to the plate. Bastards. Probably Apex spies. Or Dad's paranoia spilling over. He raked a hand through his hair, pacing to the window where rain traced silver trails. Eli, I won't let this touch you. But it already had. I stood, crossing to him, arms wrapping around his waist from behind. His body tensed, then softened, head dropping back against my shoulder. What if it does? I murmured into his neck. What if they take everything? He turned, cupping my face, thumbs brushing my cheeks. Then we build it back. You and me. No empires. Just this. We made love that night, slower, deeper, exploring like cartographers of hurt places. His fingers traced the freckles across my shoulders, mouth following, whispering affirmations against my skin. Beautiful. Brave. Mine. In the quiet after, bodies slick and spent, he talked. Really talked. About the pressure cooker of his childhood. Boarding schools in Andover, summers at the vineyard in Napa where expectations grew like grapes, heavy and sweet. Coming out at 22, to a father who nodded once and changed the subject, a mother who'd already drunk herself into silence. I love him, Wyatt said, staring at the ceiling cracks. But he doesn't see me. Not like you do. I propped on an elbow, tracing his collarbone. And you see me, Wyatt. The mess and all. His laugh was soft, eyes crinkling. Especially the mess. But as sleep tugged, my phone lit up on the nightstand. Another anonymous ping. Tell him about Portland. Or I will. Portland. The ghost died buried. The breakdown the night I almost walked into the Willamette. How did they know? Morning came gray and unrelenting. Coffee brewing as Wyatt hummed in the shower. I stared at the message, deleted it again. Secrets were chains. Ours were starting to rattle. The boardroom smelled of fresh printouts and stale ambition. Polished oak table reflecting the projector's glow like a mirror to our vanities. It was merger week. Apex execs flown in from Austin. All cowboy boots and drawls clashing with our flannel and jeans vibe. I sat at the far end, notebook open, pen scratching notes on synergies and risks, but my eyes kept drifting to Wyatt. He commanded the room effortlessly, laser pointer in hand, diagramming integration flows, his voice steady as Puget tides. No one would guess the man who'd held me through nightmares 2 nights ago, murmuring reassurances until dawn. Harlan presided from the head, his presence a gravitational pull. Elias, he barked midway through, snapping me back. Your projections on user retention? I cleared my throat, flipping pages. Post-merger, we anticipate a 15% dip initially, sir. But with targeted onboarding. Too optimistic. An Apex suit interrupted, mustache twitching. Our data says 25. Your boy's soft on metrics. Wyatt's jaw clenched, but he smoothed it with a nod. Let's hybrid the models. Eli's got the nuance. The room murmured approval, tension easing like a held breath released. Harlan shot me a glance, appraising, maybe proud, and for a split second I felt seen. Not as the gay kid from Maine, but as capable. Dangerous, that feeling. It made you want more. After, in the hallway scrum, Wyatt clapped my shoulder, fingers lingering a beat too long. Nailed it, he murmured, low enough for only me. His touch burned through my shirt, a promise of later. But as the crowd thinned, a figure lingered. Marcus Hale, Apex's lead engineer. Mid-40s, wiry with a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow. Eyes like chipped flint. He'd been staring all meeting. Harlan, he drawled, blocking my path. Heard you're the numbers whisperer. Got a minute? I nodded warily, following him to a conference pod. Those glass fishbowls for spontaneous collaboration. Inside he dropped the charm. Wyatt's golden, ain't he? But gold tarnishes. You know about the leaks. Leaks. My pulse quickened. He leaned in, breath minty. Apex code walking out the door. Wyatt's got access. Cozy with the insiders. A smirk. Or maybe distractions. Saw you too, cozy after hours. The world narrowed to his smug face. You're out of line. Am I? Check your inbox, kid. Sent you a gift. He sauntered out, leaving me reeling. Back at my desk, the email waited. Attachments of Wyatt's browser history. Timestamps aligning with Apex breaches. Downloads from secure folders, late-night IPs tracing to his home network. Forged. Or real? My hand shook as I forwarded it to IT anonymously, then deleted the trace. Betrayal or frame job? Wyatt wouldn't. But doubt was a virus replicating fast. That evening we met at Alki Beach. Sunset bleeding orange across the sound. Ferries cutting white wakes like escape routes. Wyatt spread a blanket, unpacking picnic from a cooler. Crab rolls from Pike Place, local IPA fizzing gold. We walked the shore first, shoes sinking in damp sand, waves lapping like confessions. Tell me about Portland, he said suddenly, gravel crunching underfoot. His hand in mine casual but eyes searching. My step faltered. The anonymous texts, had he seen them? What about it? You mentioned it once. Sounded like it broke you. I stopped, facing him, wind tugging my collar. The water stretched endless, mirroring my ache. Broken remade. I was 23, fresh out of college. Met a guy Jasper. Artist type, all tattoos and manifestos. We fell hard fast. Pride that year was magic. Floats thumping bass, bodies painted rainbows, his hand in mine like armor. Wyatt listened, thumb stroking my knuckles. But his family. Texas oil money, church every Sunday. Found out, went nuclear. Threats, disownment. Jasper cracked. Chose them. I swallowed the salt rising. I spiraled. Nights in bars, blackouts by the river. Almost didn't wake up one. He pulled me close, arms iron bands. God, Eli. I'm sorry. Don't be. It taught me. Love's not a contract. It's a choice every damn day. I looked up, his face etched with empathy. Your turn. The tattoos, what's the story? He rolled up his sleeve, revealing a compass rose on his forearm. Ink faded at the edges. Baja 25. Road trip after Stanford. Crashing waves, bonfires with strangers. Hooked up with this surfer, Kai. First time I said it out loud. I'm gay. He laughed, said, welcome to the club. Then ghosted when I left. A shrug, but pain lingered. Felt like Portland for you. We kissed there, salt on lips, the world fading to just us. Two survivors washing clean in the tide. Back on the blanket, stars pricking the indigo sky. He fed me a strawberry juice bursting sweet. Eli, A phone buzzed. Mine. Harlan, urgent. Boardroom. Now. Wyatt's brow furrowed. Work. Worse. I stood, sand shedding. Stay here. He nodded, but worry shadowed his eyes. The drive back was a blur, city lights streaking like accusations. Harlan waited alone, face thunderous, laptop open to the breach report. Explain this. I scanned it, Wyatt's IP timestamps from our nights together. Sir, it's my son. His voice cracked, rare vulnerability. Fraternizing. Distracted. This could tank the merger. Fraternizing. The word slithered, ugly. It's not what. I know what I saw. He slid photos across. Me and Wyatt at Alki, candid shots from afar. Security cams. Disloyalty, Elias. From you both. My blood iced. Marcus. It had to be. Give me time. I'll fix. Fix. He stood, towering. Or join the leaks. Choose, boy. Family or folly. I left shattered, rain starting again as I floored it back to the beach. Wyatt was gone, blanket folded neat. A note tucked under a rock called away. Love you. Vous. Love. The word anchored me, even as the storm broke. But in my rearview, headlights trailed. Not paranoia. Pursuit. The safe house wasn't a house at all. Just a rented cabin on the outskirts of Snohomish, tucked into evergreens that whispered conspiracies in the wind. I'd driven there blind, following coordinates Wyatt texted at midnight. Trust me. Come alone. The anonymous threats had escalated. Voicemails now. Distorted voices hissing about, exposing the prince's plaything. Marcus Hale's handiwork, no doubt, but why? Revenge for a poached deal? Or deeper grudge against the Kensington legacy? I arrived at dawn, gravel crunching under tires, the Olympic mountains hulking silhouettes against a sky-bruising purple. The cabin was rustic charm. Cedar logs, a porch swing creaking in the breeze, chimney puffing wood smoke. Wyatt opened the door before I knocked, pulling me into an embrace that smelled of pine and fear. You came. Always. I clung, heartbeat syncing with his. Inside, the space was sparse. A stone fireplace crackling, mugs of coffee steaming on a scarred pine table, his laptop humming ominously. He led me to the couch, knees touching. Dad knows. About us. My stomach dropped. The photos. Worse. The breaches, they're real. I did it. His confession hung leaden. You. Air left my lungs. Why? Not sabotage. He raked fingers through disheveled hair. Whistleblowing. Apex's AI, it's predatory. Scrapes user data without consent, sells to the highest bidder. Dark money, election meddling. I found out months ago, started siphoning proof. Thought I was careful. Wyatt. Betrayal stung, but under it, understanding bloomed. This was him, the coder with a conscience, surf bum soul in a suit. You could have told me. Couldn't risk it. Not till I had everything. His eyes pleaded. Eli, you're clean in this. I swear. But I wasn't. The anonymous emails, the IT forward, I'd implicated him without knowing. Marcus knows. He's got leverage. On me. Portland. Wyatt's face paled. The river. I nodded, shame hot. Therapy records somehow. He's threatening to leak it all. Make me the unstable insider. Fury flashed in his eyes. That snake. Hired him last year, thought he was solid. Turns out he's Apex loyal, planted to spy. He stood, pacing the rag rug. We go public. Drop the files, expose the rot. And your dad? The company. Screw the empire. He knelt before me, hands on my thighs. I choose you. Us. The kiss that followed was desperate, a dam breaking, teeth and tongues, hands clawing for purchase. We stripped there on the floor, firelight dancing over sweat-slick skin, bodies arching in rhythm with the storm outside. He moved inside me, slow, deliberate, eyes locked, whispering, I love you, like a vow etched in embers. Climax shattered us, raw and real, tears mingling on the throw pillow. After, wrapped in a quilt hand-stitched by his nana, we planned. I'd comb server logs for Marcus's traces. He'd finalize the data dump to a journalist contact at the stranger. But peace fractured when my phone rang, unknown number. Elias. Harlan's voice edged with ice. Where is he? Sir. Don't play dumb. Wyatt's vanished. Merger's imploding. Apex is pulling out. A pause heavy. Come home. Testify against him. I'll bury this. Indiscretion. Indiscretion. My laugh was bitter. He's your son. And you're disposable. Click. Wyatt watched, jaw set. He'll disown me. Or worse. I pulled him close. We fight. Days blurred into a haze of code and caffeine, the cabin, our bunker. Mornings. Hacking sessions, me tracing Marcus's digital footprints. Ghost accounts, VPN hops to Austin. Afternoons. Walks in the woods, hands linked, talking futures. Wyatt dreamed of a startup in Portland, ethical AI for artists. I confess wanting to write stories of queer kids finding their fog. Nights were ours. Slow dances to old blues on the radio, his head on my chest, heartbeat a lullaby. One evening, as loons called across the lake, he carved our initials into a cedar stump. E+W intertwined like roots. But cracks widened. Supplies ran low. I slipped into town for groceries, hood up against prying eyes. At the co-op, a shadow followed Marcus, leaning on a truck, smirking. Lover's retreat? Cute. But Portland's waiting to drown you. I bolted, heart in throat, but not before he palmed my phone in the aisle scuffle. By the time I reached the cabin, Wyatt was frantic. Laptop open to leaked files. My therapy transcripts, twisted into mental instability claims. Anonymous post on Glassdoor. Kensington's got a loose cannon in analytics. Suicidal tendencies? Wyatt's arms enveloped me. We'll spin it. Show the world you're the hero. But the hero felt hollow. That night, as thunder rolled, I confessed the full Portland darkness. The pills swallowed in a haze, the air lights blurring, Jasper's final text, sorry. Can't. Wyatt held me through sobs, rocking like a child. You're here. That's victory. Dawn brought Harlan's chopper. Rotors thumping like war drums. Landing on the makeshift pad. He stormed in, security in tow, face carved from rage. Wyatt. Enough. Dad. Wyatt stood firm, me at his side. It's over. The files go live at noon. Harlan's eyes flicked to me, venomous. You. Poisoning him. No. Wyatt stepped forward. I chose this. For truth. A standoff, air electric. Harlan's hand twitched toward a briefcase, not a weapon. Inside. Adoption papers reversed. Sign. Walk away. Both of you. Wyatt tore them, shreds fluttering like confetti. Family isn't paper. It's choice. Harlan deflated, old man suddenly. Son. Security hesitated. Harlan waved them off. He left without another word. Chopper lifting into mist. By noon the story broke. Kensington Air exposes tech giant corruption. Headlines screamed, stocks tanked. Marcus vanished, Apex crumbling under probes. But victory tasted bittersweet. Wyatt's hand in mine, we watched from the porch, world remaking itself. You're free, I whispered. He kissed my temple. We are. Yet freedom's edge was sharp. Echoes of Portland, of chains half broken. Exile has a texture. Crisp like fall leaves underfoot, but laced with the rot of what you left behind. 2 weeks after the leak, Wyatt and I packed the cabin into a U-Haul, Snohomishes quiet a brief reprieve before the real unraveling. The Stranger's expose had gone viral. Podcast dissecting the Kensington gay whistleblower romance. Tabloids splashing our beach kiss with lurid captions. Harlan cut Wyatt off cold. No trust fund, no legacy, just a curt email disinherited. Don't return. We sold what we could. Wyatt's surfboard fetching a pittance online, and pointed south. Portland. Full circle for me, a fresh scar for him. The drive was a ribbon of highway, I-5 unspooling under tires that hummed like uncertain prayers. We blasted the National, Matt Berninger's baritone crooning about fake empires and bloodless coups, windows down to let wind scour the cab. Wyatt drove first, aviators on, one hand on my thigh, steady, possessive. New start, he said at a gas station in Olympia, pumping unleaded while I stretched legs numb from tension. Gallery for you, code co-op for me. I leaned against the truck, Willamette's ghost whispering from memory. And the noise? Reporters. Fuck him. His grin was fierce, pulling me in for a kiss that tasted of beef jerky and resolve. But his eyes held shadows, nights he'd wake gasping, dreams of boardrooms collapsing. Portland welcomed us with drizzle and hipster hustle. Alberta Arts District, where murals bloomed defiant on brick, coffee roasters perfuming alleys with Ethiopian dark. We found a loft above a print shop. Exposed ducks, skylights framing pigeon migrations, rent affordable on Wyatt's freelance gigs and my remote analytics consulting. Unpacked in a frenzy. His vinyl crate stacking beside my dog-eared Vonnegut paperbacks. Our clothes mingling in cedar drawers like intertwined lives. First weeks were honeymoon haze. Mornings tangled in 400 thread sheets. His mouth tracing my hip bones until I arched awake. Afternoons wandering. Saturday markets, buskers strumming for tips, food carts slinging banh mi that exploded with heat. Evenings at dive bars, nursing IPAs, Wyatt charming barflies with tales of Baja blackouts while I nursed quieter joys. Sketching him unawares, pencil capturing the curve of his laugh. But the past clawed back. One night, post-Pride after party. Rainbow flags limp in the rain, we stumbled into a familiar face, Jasper. Older now, beard threaded gray. Arm around a wiry guy with sleeve tattoos. Our eyes met across the crowded Pearl District loft, air thickening. Eli. His voice cut through the bass thump. Hesitant. Heard about the scandal. Ballsy. Wyatt tensed beside me, hand possessive on my waist. Old flame, he murmured. Worse. I forced a smile, stepping forward. Jasper. This is Wyatt. Handshakes awkward, small talk barbed. His gallery thriving, my tech drama making waves. But under it, unfinished business simmered. As Wyatt fetched drinks, Jasper leaned in. You look healed. AM. But the word wobbled. You. He glanced at his partner, eyes softening. Learning late. Wyatt returned, diffusing with easy banter. But the seed was planted. That night in our loft, Wyatt's lovemaking turned urgent, almost punishing. Nails raking my back, hips slamming as if to erase ghosts. Mine, he growled against my neck, and I yielded, whispering yes, but doubt flickered. Was I anchoring him or weighing him down? Conflicts brewed domestic. Wyatt's freelance dried up. Clients spooked by the scandal, emails ghosting like bad dates. My consulting paid bills, but resentment festered unspoken. One argument erupted over dinner. Takeout falafel gone cold, me buried in spreadsheets, him scrolling job boards with jaw clenched. You're shutting me out, he accused, fork stabbing plate. I'm providing. The word bitter on my tongue. Like Dad did. He shoved back, chair scraping. I don't need a savior, Eli. Partnership. I stood, voice rising. And I don't need a project. You think Portland fixes you? The leaks were noble, but now? We're broke, hunted. His face crumpled. I know. God, I know. He crossed to me, hands framing my face. I'm scared. Of failing you. Tears pricked. Me too. We collapsed onto the rug, apologies murmured into skin, making up slow and tender, fingers interlacing, breath sinking. But the fracture lingered. High tide came via Harlan's envoy. A lawyer and a Chris Brooks brothers, arriving unannounced with a manila envelope. Reconciliation terms. he said over chamomile in our kitchenette. Wyatt scanned the pages, face ashen. Full inheritance restored if he returned solo. Signed India, burying the affair in leaks. Go, I said quietly, heart fracturing. Family. No. He tore the papers, scattering like autumn confetti. You are. The lawyer left. We didn't speak for hours. Wyatt vanished to the roof, staring at the Hawthorne Bridge lights. I found him there at midnight, bottle of Pinot half gone, eyes red-rimmed. Talk, I urged, sitting cross-legged beside him. He exhaled, smoke from a rare cigarette curling. Dad called earlier. Apology tour. Says he gets it now, the pressure, the hiding. Wants me back to fix the company. Ethical overhaul, my lead. And me. Invisible. His laugh hollow. The price. Rage surged. Then fuck it. I want to. He crushed the butt, turning to me. But what if? Portland's your city. You're healing. I drag you into my mess. I cupped his cheek, thumb tracing stubble. We're the mess. Together. Dawn found us on the floor again. Bodies a map of bruises and bites. Love a defiant act. But as he slept, I slipped out, walking to the Willamette. Water rushed dark, reflecting sodium lamps like fallen stars. I thought of jumping, not literal but metaphorical. Leap or languish. A text buzzed, Wyatt. Coffee. Love you. I replied, always. Back home, he waited with mug steaming, vinyl spinning Joni Mitchell's Blue. We talked real boundaries, therapy for us both, a joint pitch for that ethical AI startup. Hope flickered, fragile as bridge lights. But Marcus's shadow loomed. A package arrived days later. Polaroids from the cabin, us entwined on the porch swing. Note: loose ends untie. Apex rises. Wyatt's face hardened. Time to end this. We drove to Austin that week. U-Haul traded for a rental sedan, hearts armored. Confrontation called Marcus's Lair, a tech park on the edge of ranchland. The showdown was dust and desperation. His office a bunker of monitors, us bursting in uninvited. Hail, Wyatt growled. Game over. Marcus spun, smug fading to snarl. Princes and paupers. Cute. I stepped forward. The leaks stop. Or Portland goes public. Your apex ties, the blackmail. Bluff half true. He laughed, but eyes darted. You got nothing. Wyatt slid a USB across. Everything. Your VPN logs, payoffs. Drop it or we both burn. Standoff stretched, AC humming like held breath. Marcus deflated, signing a confession waiver. Fine. Vanish. We left him crumpled, Texas sun baking the lot. Victory? Pyrrhic. Wyatt's hand in mine trembled. Free, he whispered. But freedom's cost echoed. The gavel fell like a guillotine in the federal courthouse, echoing off marble halls that smelled of polished wood and faded justice. It was 6 months after Austin, Portland's rains traded for Seattle's relentless gray, ironic homecoming. The city that birthed our storm now sheltering our fragile peace. Marcus Hale's trial was a circus. Suits from Doge, reporters flashing like paparazzi, Harlan Kensington testifying in a rare show of contrition, his voice steady as he detailed the cover-up. Wyatt sat beside me in the gallery, hand clasped in mine under the bench, public now, our affection a quiet rebellion against the stairs. Guilty, the judge intoned, and Marcus was led away in cuffs, face ashen as the hill country dust we'd left behind. No drama, just the click of restraints. Outside, flashbulbs popped. Wyatt shielded my face, whispering, breathe. As we ducked into a waiting car, Harlan's olive branch, a sleek Audi with tinted windows. The drive to the waterfront was silent at first, Space Needle piercing clouds like a needle to the heart. Harlan had brokered this. Partial reinstatement for Wyatt, a VP role in ethics oversight. No strings on personal matters. Me? Invited as consultant, my Portland scars reframed as resilience in my resume. Forgiveness? Or pragmatism? Dinner was at the Metropolitan Grill, Harlan's haunt. Steak seared rare, Bordeaux decanted like blood apologies. He raised a glass, eyes on Wyatt. Proud of you, son. Both of you. Wyatt clinked, cautious. Changes. Real ones. Harlan nodded to me. Elias, your insights on the task force saved us. Welcome aboard. Properly. I murmured thanks, but under the linen Wyatt's fingers squeezed mine, grounding. Conversation flowed. Merger postmortem. Wyatt's startup pitch greenlit with seed funding. Laughter even, Harlan recounting a Napa vineyard flop from his youth. Vines yielding vinegar instead of vintage. But undercurrents pulled. As dessert arrived, creme brulee crackling like fragile truces, Harlan's phone buzzed. He glanced, face tightening. Apex remnants. Still sniffing. Wyatt's fork paused. Let them. Harlan eyed us. Vigilance, boy. Always. The meal ended with handshakes, Harlan's grip firm on my shoulder. Take care of him, Elias. He's all I have. Outside, valet pulling up, Wyatt pulled me into shadows. Think he means it? Actions, not words. I kissed him soft, tasting caramel. We've earned doubt. Back in our Queen Anne apartment, Wyatt's old brownstone reclaimed with ghosts aired out, we shed the evening like coats. The space felt lived in now. My sketches framed on walls, his surf videos paused mid-wave on the TV. We moved to the bedroom slow. Candlelight from the street flickering over us, bodies familiar as breathing. His hands knew every dip and rise, mouth mapping freckles like constellations. Love you, he breathed as I took him, slow rolls building to crest, our cries mingling with rain's patter. After tangled and sated, he traced my arm. Portland changed me. You healed us. But sleep evaded, dreams tangled, rivers rushing, boardrooms crumbling. Months unfolded like a well-edited reel. Wyatt thriving in his role, ethical audits rolling out, headlines shifting from scandal to savior. I consulted full-time, my reports laced with nuance that earned nods in meetings. We built routines. Sunday ferries to Bainbridge, picnics with local cheeses and debates on Kerouac's Wanderlust. Pride that year we marched hand in hand, rainbows on our sleeves, Wyatt's laugh booming over chants. Yet betrayal's echo lingered. One evening, post-gala fundraiser, Wyatt schmoozing donors in a tux that hugged him devastating, I found a note slipped under our door. Handwritten, elegant script. Some debts unpaid. Watch the waves. Ush. Harlan. No, too direct. Heart sinking, I pocketed it, but Wyatt noticed. What? Nothing. Lie bitter. Cracks spiderwebbed. Wyatt's late nights at the office stretched. Strategy sessions with Harlan that left him drained. I buried in work, but jealousy gnawed, irrational, the pull of legacy. Arguments flared petty. Forgotten dry cleaning, whose turn for dishes. One night it boiled over. You're drifting, I accused, wine glass slamming counter. To what? Duty. He raked hair. Dad needs me. The company's healing. And us. Voice cracked. Or am I the footnote? He recoiled. Eli, no. You're everything. Then prove it. I stormed out, walking Capitol Hill's neon veins. Bars spilling laughter that mocked me. Hours later, phone silent, I hailed a cab to the waterfront. There on the pier Wyatt waited, jacket loose, eyes storm-tossed. Don't, he said as I approached. I quit today. What? VP gig. Too much shadow. He pulled a USB from his pocket. Our startup. Portland launch next month. If you'll come. Tears blurred the sound. You chose. Always did. He knelt, ring box materializing, simple platinum band engraved, E+W choice. I pulled him up, kissing fierce, salt mingling. Yes. But the note haunted. Investigation revealed. Jasper of all ghosts. Bitter over my fairy tale, he'd allied with apex holdouts, petty sabotage. Confronted gently. Coffee in a neutral cafe. He crumbled, apologies tumbling. Jealous. You won. Forgive, I said. Like I did. He nodded, vanishing from our orbit. Wedding was small. Bainbridge Beach, autumn sun gilding waves, Harlan officiating in a nod to amends, tears in his eyes as we vowed. In sickness and merger, Wyatt quipped, ring sliding home. Years later, our Portland co-op thrives. AI for indie creators, queer coders mentored under rain-slick awnings. Harlan visits, grandkids on his knee, adopted, ours by choice. Echoes fade but lessons linger. Love as rebellion, identity as anchor. In quiet nights, Wyatt's head on my chest, I whisper to the dark. Freedom isn't absence of chains, but the courage to choose them together.